So hopefully that video allows you to see a little bit of the landscape at Nipissing and gives you some ideas of the pieces that we're particularly proud of and the things that we offer students. It's a summation of the kind of messaging that we give to our students when they're able to visit us in person on the campus. Hopefully everyone can see my screen here. And today I'll be chatting with you briefly and giving you some highlights on Nipissing University, the pieces that are unique to our university, and some information about admissions and process, programs offered, and support services as well. Throughout, I believe if you have any questions, you're welcome to type them in, and our representatives in India there from MSM will be handling some of the questions. At the end of the presentation, I'm happy to take any of the others as well. Nipissing University is located in North Bay, which is about 3.5 hours from Toronto, which is a city that most folks are familiar with. And North Bay is a city. We have a population of about 50,000 and all the amenities that students might be looking for from a city. We have movie theaters, malls, things for them to do, but the beauty of North Bay is that with all of these amenities in the city, it's still wrapped up in the beauty of Northern Ontario. When people sometimes think of visiting Canada or Ontario, they often think of these picturesque landscapes and trees, forests, rivers. North Bay is all of that. You can see in the photo here at the bottom of the screen, the lake that's here, which is Lake Nipissing. And just minutes away, there are other lakes as well, Trout Lake and Circle Lake. This is really a beautiful place to come and to study and to experience that true North and Canadian experience. Students can use the downtown amenities, restaurants, they can go to the beach. There's ski hills nearby, which some of our international students have enjoyed, initiatives put on by the school to help them learn to ski and to skate and other kind of stereotypically Canadian activities that they get to participate in and learn how to do, which is a really cool piece for us to be able to share with them and to build that experience on our campus. We do also have a really lovely public transit system here. It's very clean, very efficient, and the students all get access to that bus system for free as part of their university fees. So their student card acts as a bus pass, which makes it easier for the students to get around the city. They don't have to worry about buying and operating a car while they're here if that's not something that they're interested in. In terms of facilities on our campus is a self-contained campus, just meaning that it's not spread out throughout the city. It's all in one area, which again makes it really convenient for our students. They don't need to worry about trying to get across the city to get to a class. Everything is in one place for them. We have an education center, which is where most of our classes take place. That's where our lecture halls and a lot of our support services are for the students. Offices are there. We do also have a library, has another building. It's a beautiful, big and bright open space. It is, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but this is a picture here in the center of the screen of the library. It's a few floors high and it has lots of resources for the students, from actual physical books to computer and online journal resources for all of their research and personal needs. We do also have a separate athletic center. This is a fairly new building and it has lots of really great amenities. The students get access to this facility for free. If they would like to use the cardio room or a weight room, perhaps they're interested in joining a team. We have different levels of competition that they can get involved in. They could be involved in a varsity team, which is highly competitive, and they compete across the country against other universities. We do also have intramural and club teams as well, which are more just for fun if students are looking to meet other people and do something active that they enjoy. And we'll have a brand new student center opening. It's scheduled to open this fall, but because of the current situation, it will be delayed a couple of months, but it will be opening in the next year when the students are attending. This building is going to be beautiful and bright, just like the library, been designed by the same architect, and it's entirely dedicated to student space. Our Nipissing University Student Union will have offices there. There's going to be boardrooms and study spaces that students can use and reserve for themselves. There's also restaurants and a bar in this place as well, and places for students to gather, study, and connect. The other buildings that you'll find on our campus are residence buildings, which there's another slide coming to show a little bit more about residence, but there are 3 apartment style residence buildings on the campus and then townhouse style buildings as well, which we'll discuss more in a little bit. In terms of the academic facilities and resources, you can see some photos here from our labs, from the monastery, which is a fine art facility, and our physical education, which was in the video as well with the young gentleman jumping and the biomechanics software tracking it on the computer. We do have, for a small university, we do have very up-to-date and very incredible research facilities and resources for all of our students from all different programs. In terms of student life at the university, there's a lot of opportunities for students to get involved, and this is something that I have personally noticed about our international students who come to Nipissing, is they do get very involved. And because we're a smaller institution, I feel that it's easier for the students to be able to find involvement opportunities and make connections, not only with other international students, but with domestic students here as well. Some of the images here include our varsity soccer team. We have an Office of Indigenous Initiatives that puts on a number of events and activities. There's Lakers games, which were discussed in the video that was shown if students want to go and watch varsity activities. But there's lots of other clubs and teams and involvement opportunities as well. I know in my office, the Student Recruitment Office, we have a number of student volunteers that work with us as ambassadors to speak with other students on behalf of the university. And this has been something that I've noticed the international students have really excelled at and gotten involved with. And they've dedicated an incredible number of hours to volunteering with us and made really amazing contributions to our team. So getting involved is definitely a big piece of life at Nipissing University. Residence is an option for students who are interested in living on the campus. There are also off-campus living options too for those students who may be looking for an apartment or who are looking to rent a room in a house with other students, for instance. If students are looking at on-campus living, the cost for an apartment style building is around 6,400 Canadian dollars for the 8-month period that they're in school, September until the end of April. That's all inclusive living. It includes the Wi-Fi cost, all their utilities, any maintenance that they might need, and all of the programming that's run in the residences as well, which includes support services for students, as well as opportunities to get to know their roommates, other neighbors, and those connections. As I mentioned, there are 3 apartment style buildings. In the apartments, there are 4 bedrooms. Each bedroom has its own locking door. So every student that lives in a Nipissing University residence has their own locking bedroom door, so they have privacy. And then those 4 bedrooms share 2 washrooms, a kitchen area, and a living space. All of the furniture is provided, but students are required to bring anything else that they might need, like a shower curtain or linens for their beds, any of the food or anything that they like in the apartment space. The townhouse residences are usually reserved for upper year students, and they're set up pretty well the same, except that they are townhouses, so they're 2 floors. There's 6 bedrooms, and again, they share a couple of washrooms, a living space, and a full kitchen. The furniture is all provided, and there's the same services available for those as well. If students are choosing to live off campus, there are supports to help find off-campus living through our residence life team. And there are still supports for students in terms of helping them connect with their community, even if they choose to live off campus and not in residence. Support is a big part of what we do at Nipissing University for our students, and this is what I believe helps us stand out from other institutions. We are a smaller institution, and for a small university, we spend a disproportionate amount of our money making sure that our students are supported, and that shows in our Maclean's rankings as well. We're ranked consistently highest in the province in Ontario, as well as the country in Canada, in our student satisfaction and support services. Some of the supports that we offer, you can see here on the screen. We have transition supports, employment supports, and health insurance supports. So when international students attend Nipissing University, we help them get set up with their UHIP, which is their health insurance while they're here. We also provide them with assistance in getting their social insurance number, which makes sure that they're eligible to work while they're studying here in Ontario. We like to help with these things because this way it's one less thing the student needs to navigate by themselves when they're already navigating the transition into a new environment for their education. Some other services that are provided are things like our international initiatives. So when international students come here, we have an office and a team that's dedicated to helping run program and provide opportunities for them to, again, get involved in the community, meet their peers, provide supports, help them navigate anything that they might be going through their whole degree seeking process here in Ontario. We have peer tutoring services as well as learning and transition services. If students were to come and study at Nipissing University and they found that the grades they were receiving were not what they were hoping for and they'd like to do better, there are lots of support services to help those students achieve those goals. This does not have to be a student that's academically struggling. It could be that they are just not achieving what they would like to. Even if a student is achieving a B average, but they would like to be achieving an A average, they can still use services to boost their grades and help themselves develop some skills and techniques for studying to make sure that they're getting what they would like out of their Canadian education. We have accessibility services if students are coming with any kind of disability or learning challenge. This is the office that will help set up parameters to make sure they can be successful. And then there are lots of other offices and supports on campus available to all of our students, like doctors, counseling services. There's an equity center, multi-faith space, all of these pieces there for students to make sure that their time at Nipissing University is going to be successful and enjoyable. This chart on the screen that you see right now is for students who would be entering the university directly from high school. So this chart does not apply to students who may be transferring from another institution, a university, or students who have completed university or been out of high school for more than a year or two. This really is for the students who are graduating and finishing their final high school studies and planning to go directly into university. It's our automatic entrance awards and scholarships. Students don't need to do anything to apply for these or be eligible for them. If they apply to the university and they have the averages that you can see on the left-hand side, then they would receive the money once they attend the university. If a student has an 80 to an 84 average, they're eligible for $1,500 Canadian. If they have 85 to 89, it's $2,500. And if they have a 90% or above, they're eligible for free domestic tuition, whatever that may be, which means if their tuition came to $7,000, Nipissing University will pay the $7,000, but the international students would still have to pay their international fees, so they still need to pay that portion. You'll also see on the left-hand side that in brackets below the percentage, it provides IB scores in case you have any students who are doing the International Baccalaureate program. Other awards and bursaries that we have, if students are entering an education program, which would be our concurrent or consecutive Bachelor of Education or the Bachelor of Physical Health and Education, they are eligible to apply for this award and there is an application needed. The award is valued at $7,000 Canadian and there's around 100 of them. So I highly recommend that students apply to these if they are eligible. You can see a list of requirements there below with an 80% average and some references for community involvement and pieces like that. There is also there are also other awards and bursaries that students can apply for once they're students. What I'll point out between the Schulich Award here and this chart, if a student has a 90% average and is eligible for free tuition, and they also receive the Schulich Scholarship. They can't hold both at the same time, but they would get the one with the highest value. So if their domestic tuition was going to be $6,000 and they also were receiving the Schulich Scholarship, instead they would get the $7,000. The Schulich is only for 1 year. Once their first year is over, they would return to this chart and they would continue to get $3,000 as if they had won that initial entrance award. For alternate funding options available for international students, there are various opportunities to work both on campus and off campus in North Bay. As I mentioned, we help them get set up with their social insurance number so that that's a possibility for them. The opportunities on campus allow students to work up to 10 hours a week, usually working at minimum wage, which right now is just above $14 an hour. There's lots of different opportunities, from working in the athletic center. They can work in our office. We have a few students each year that are employed for us to help with recruitment initiatives and help engage future students. There's also lots of help in the student development services area and other areas on campus. There are in-course scholarships as well. Once the students are students at Nipissing in their first year, they're eligible to apply for these in-course scholarships, which are based on their performance and involvement at the university. And sometimes there are external scholarships as well, not administered by Nipissing University, but we always encourage students to look at opportunities that are out there for them. This chart provides you an idea of what an international student may be looking at for fees at Nipissing University. We do tend to be lower in costs than other Ontario institutions, which we're quite proud of, trying to make university and education more affordable for not just international, but our domestic students as well. Typical tuition for our programs is around 19,000 Canadian dollars. This is not American dollars also, it's the Canadian dollars. There's going to be some ancillary fees, which you can see. We give an estimate for residents. Again, the apartment style residences are about the $6,400. If they were looking at a townhouse residence, it's about $5,700. If students are interested in living off campus, the price can range depending on the accommodation that they look for, but it could be anywhere from $500 a month for a room in a space to $1,000 a month if they want their own apartment, in that range there. And things to remember if they're looking off campus is that typically that price will be for their rent, but they'll usually also have to pay utilities and their internet costs as well. There's an estimate here for food, books, and supplies and other personal pieces. So what we recommend is students should be prepared for each year of study to pay around $33,000 Canadian dollars for their studies. That's if they're not receiving any of the scholarships or other financial aid pieces. That's just the upfront costs of study. For the food options, we do have meal plans available. They're optional. Students are not required to purchase them because even the residence buildings, every apartment has its own kitchen. Students can cook for themselves. But if students were to get an optional meal plan, it's about 1,100 Canadian dollars per term. This is a list of our undergraduate programs of study. So hopefully everyone can have a look through at what is offered at Nipissing University for bachelor's levels degrees. We have a full range of programming, including arts, humanities, social sciences, sciences, things from business and professional programs like nursing and social work, which are popular with students. Pretty well anything a student may be interested in studying is here. The only one that we do not have that I know can be relatively popular with students is engineering. We don't offer any engineering accredited programs. If students are interested in programming and software engineering, they can take the computer science Bachelor of Science degree, and this allows them to apply to the PEO, which is the Professional Engineers of Ontario, after study. But there's some additional tests that they would have to do compared to a student who completes a formal accredited engineering program at other institutions. For students who already hold university degrees, we have some options here for them on this slide. For those students who hold a university degree that is not in an area of business, we have post-baccalaureate diploma programs. This is made for students that have studied in another area and who are now looking to apply business knowledge to that area. So for instance, I know when I was in India speaking with students, we had one student who had done a degree in fashion design and was now interested in a business background to possibly look at transitioning that into their own successful business. That's the type of student that we would be looking for these programs. They can study in a few different areas. They could be doing business administration, finance, human resource management, international business, or marketing. We do also hold a couple of certificates that are there for them as well. The post-baccalaureate diplomas are 2-year programs for completion. We have graduate programs for students who already hold a bachelor's level university degree and who are interested in furthering their study in that field or a related field. So they could be interested in education, history, sociology, math, kinesiology, which is exercise science, the science of movement, environmental science, or Master of Environmental Studies. And we have a PhD program in education as well for students who already hold a master's level degree. The Schulich School of Education is the program that has the concurrent and consecutive education programs, as well as the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education. It's a named school. It's a very prestigious school for education as well. So for those students who might be interested in becoming teachers, this would be, the programs on the screen would be for them. A student entering directly from high school can enter the concurrent program, which means that they would take one of these programs, a bachelor's level degree, as well as the concurrent. It's a total of 6 years of study, but they get 2 degrees. The consecutive program is for those students who already hold a university level degree. They can do just the 2 years for the education program if they are interested in a teaching program. In terms of admissions, they go through our India office here with MSM. And right now, just as an update with the COVID-19 piece, because I know pieces like IELTS and English language are becoming difficult and some are not able to complete these right now, we have passed it through our academic senate that students can meet their English language requirements right now through the Duolingo testing. And for the undergraduate programs, the students would require a 110 score. And for our graduate level programs, students will require a 115 score. Whereas typically our language requirements, for instance, with the IELTS are the 6.5 overall and in each section, but we know that that's not necessarily available to every student right now. And for most of our undergraduate admissions, the students need a 60% average in finishing their high school education to be eligible for admissions. All of our programs, with the exception of nursing and the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education at the undergraduate level, are open enrollment. This means that if a student applies and meets the criteria, so they have that 60% average and they have the courses required for the program, whatever those may be, then they will receive an offer of admission because there's not a limited number of seats. As I mentioned, that's with the exception of nursing and the Bachelor of Physical and Health Education. There are limited seats for those. For nursing, we have 96 spots every year for everyone, domestic and international. And for Bachelor of Physical and Health Education, there are 120 spots each year, both domestic and international included in that, which means that if the student applies with the minimum 60, they're still eligible to be considered. But the averages become competitive based on the pool of applicants that year. If we have 600 students apply to nursing and we only have 96 spots, if the top 96 students from that applicant pool have a 70 or an 80 average, then the average to get the offer of admission would become a 70 or an 80, not just the minimum 60. So that's something important to keep in mind if you have students that are interested in nursing or Bachelor of Physical Health Education, because those are the only 2 programs where that's a factor for the admissions for them. So this is what I have for you in terms of general information about Nipissing University and some of our services, facilities, programs, and admissions. I believe Siobhan will come back in with me, so I'm open to answering any questions. I know there's likely questions about kind of the COVID-19 situation right now at Nipissing as well, so I'm happy to address any of those questions now.
Thank you, Sarah. We already have a few questions coming in. Attendees, please ask your questions in the Q&A if you want to join our discussion. So, Sarah, people are asking if we are accepting IELTS indicator as the language proficiency test.
IELTS indicator?
Yeah, so that's a new online test conducted by the IDP. That's the IELTS indicator. Any information on the same?
I will have to check with Heather, but I can get that response to you, Siobhan, within a day.
Sure. And then we have a question that, majority of the institutions have their IELTS requirement to be 6.5 overall with no module less than 6. But at Nipissing, our IELTS requirement is 6.5 in each module. So does the university have any plan in the future to lower down the requirement? Because they're saying that they're missing on a lot of potential students for Nipissing University.
Yes, and we know that this is a challenge. We do have plans to try to lower that to meet the standard of what other universities are doing. But that comes along with when we're implementing resources on campus for English language support. Because right now we don't have any services or anyone on campus whose job it is to offer English language support. And what we don't want is students who come internationally and then are being evaluated in their ability to present their ideas written and orally in English and have their grades suffer because they're not able to communicate as clearly and we aren't able to support them in that. That's why right now our requirements are a little bit higher, but we do have plans to hire a position for English language support. Once that position gets hired, we will be able to lower the credentials because then we feel confident that if a student arrives on campus and feels that their grades don't accurately reflect their academic ability, that there's supports there to help them bridge that gap.
All right. And another question is the university giving or providing online classes due to current situation of COVID-19?
Yes, for the remainder of when we finished our winter term here, the one that ended in the end of April or is ending now, we transitioned the courses to online. So all of our students were able to complete all of their coursework. Nobody missed any courses or credits. And for the term that's starting right now, for the students that are already here, which is our spring summer term, those courses are all online as well. We didn't have to cancel any of those courses. They're moving forward as they would have normally, just in a virtual setting. For the fall term, we are hoping to have students with us in person on campus. That's obviously our preference for their experience to be able to study with us. But should this COVID situation continue and prevent us from studying on campus, we will move forward with virtual options for those students as well. So there will be courses available either way, whether they're in person in the fall or they become a virtual opportunity in the fall.
Okay, perfect. And if you can please repeat the requirements for Duolingo scores for undergraduate and postgraduate programs.
Undergraduate students will require 110. And
okay.
For graduate level students, they're going to require 115.
So I guess this answers a lot of questions. So yeah, it looks like we have answered most of the questions. In case if we have missed any, you will be getting a reward from our team. Sarah, is there anything else that you would like to mention?
No, I just want to say thank you for everyone who took the time to join us today. It's my pleasure to be able to chat with you and, as I said, connect virtually with you when we aren't able to connect in person. I know I was looking forward to hopefully coming back to India and meeting more of the agents and returning to see again some of those that I already met. But hopefully everyone is staying safe and staying healthy. And once this is over and we're able to travel again, I very much look forward to coming back and seeing many of you in person. Thank you for all the hard work that you and your teams put in to support Nipissing University and to help connect students with our campus if it's the right fit for them. We greatly appreciate everything that you do and that you took the time today to chat with us.
Thank you, Sarah. And just for everyone's information, due to some reasons, Debra couldn't join it for the session today. But before we sign off, our second round of webinar for this same presentation will be aired on May 4th, 2020 at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. If any attendees joined us late or anybody of you would like to recommend your students, colleagues, or references, please feel free to share the registration link. We at MSM are super excited to introduce to you Agent eSummit 2020 Live and would request all of you to follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube platforms to stay updated on our upcoming events. You can also visit our website, www.msquaremedia.com, to be updated on our events. Thank you for participating in today's webinar. We hope to see you again next time. Stay safe, stay home. Thank you.
Thank you.